was an allergen thing with a table that was really mishandled that scared me a lot.
Gotcha.
There was like the general manager had gone on maternity leave, and she wasn't coming back, but she just left. She had her first baby, and that those duties were split between like the 3 lead servers or something.
Yeah.
And we had a situation where we had served nuts to a person with a nut allergy.
Oh man!
Because the
communication breakdown.
They didn't talk about allergens at the table when they were sat and stuff. And, that person ended up having to go to the hospital. And when I was cooking on the line, when he was talking to our chef de cuisine about it, one of the guys, and he was saying it like, that they were fine. Everybody was joking about it at the table, and how do we deal with this? And the way that it was framed was like, how do we deal with this so that we don't take responsibility for it?
Yeah.
How do we make it not our fault?
Yeah.
And I stopped what I was doing, and I was like, you need to go the fuck out there and apologize to all of these people and do whatever is necessary to build trust for them to come back here.
Yeah.
And owning that is the first step to it. Like this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
We can't function if we're not able to like say, hey, this is how this happened. Otherwise we're not going to be able to move forward from it.
Yeah.
And so I was like just really upset with how that situation was handled, and especially the next day when like I come in, nothing has happened to those people. They're not even like pulled aside and talked to, and I'm like, okay, well, there's not a standard level of like accountability. My career is now in jeopardy for being involved with this.
Yes.
So I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I took some time off, and I wanted to do some international staging and stuff, and I had thought I had enough money saved up, and I fucking had not even like a fraction of what it cost even to go to Australia and stage with Mark Best or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I had done a couple of stages at a few places, a couple in LA and a couple in Houston, and thinking that this was a point where, if I'm either making another lateral move managerially, then it's going to be at a higher level restaurant, or something, or and then around that time, Sean and I got back in contact, and he told me that they were really needing people in Nashville. They needed sous chefs in Nashville. The Husk in Nashville had opened in 2013, and at that point, it was on their 3rd CDC. They'd had like kind of a tumultuous start, and so I, went down to Nashville and staged and reconnected with him. It's funny, we had when I was working at Quince, he had shown up to do an event that I was doing with Tusk, and it was really fun to like be in this hotel kitchen in San Francisco cooking some lamb with Dano, and like Sean had just come back from West Africa doing The Mind of a Chef filming, and had all these crazy like dried oysters and
cool.
I was like, smell this. And
yeah,
this. And that was really cool. And so to me, like Sean was always that guy that was like, if he ever said, I need you for something, I would drop whatever project that I was on, and I would go and I would be there for him.
Yes.
It was just that big influence for me that kind of started it all,
A true mentor.
Yeah. Even if like he and I weren't in the kitchen together every day or whatever, I just felt indebted to him.
Yes.
It was like, so anyway, I went to Nashville and staged and saw the place and met everybody, and one of the sous chefs was a guy that I worked with at Curate, Bradley, and it was just fucking great. Like walking
instant,
in,
like,
instant,
hey, what's up, bro?
Gave him a hug, and it just felt really good. It felt right, and Sean and I went out drinking that night, and that was weird, but it was interesting. It was fun, and went back to his place, and he had this like 4-year-old ham in his apartment carving up. And, it's like 3:30 or 4 in the morning. I was like, make me a French omelet.
That's dope.
And I was like, all right.
Yes, chef.
So he pulls the porcelain out of the fridge and all this. It's like, make him an omelet. And he was like, no, I said French, like, as he's eating the omelet.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, all right.
Make another one. No, I said
just,
French.
You could have just told me you wanted to eat 2 omelets. But whatever. But, okay, there's some color on it. Yeah, it's 4 in the morning and I'm fucking drunk as hell.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? And so that was fun. It, made me feel like welcome and back in the tribe and that kind of thing. And so I started at House Nashville right around Labor Day of 2014, and there were some there's the hiccups just like there is in anything else. We'd had a chef de partie that was maintaining the butchery program, like no call, no show, one day. And, the idea for me was I was really gonna to function as a traditional sous chef and manage and contribute in all of these aspects of the kitchen.
Heard.
Creatively and with service and with mentoring and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, when that happened, I saw this like major vacuum in what was happening in the kitchen, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll be the butcher. Like I'll take this so that we can get it to a place where it's trainable, where we can whatever. And charcuterie had always been like a major point of emphasis for me from the first time I ever went to Mcleod's. I was just enthralled by like the idea that just human beings could take this pig and turn it into all this like amazing stuff, and I just knew how to do that. It was just incredible to me, and so early on that was like one of the attributes that you had to have to call yourself a chef in my mind.
Very true.
Just like working pastry,
100%.
That your job, if you're going to be a chef, is to be able to understand and manage every aspect of how a kitchen functions.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that as an essential part. And if you're doing anything where you have a commitment to small farms and you're doing whole animals and you got to know what to do with this shit.
Yeah.
And so I saw that as a really great opportunity for me to explore that a lot more. I had done a few things here and there, but I'd never really done bulk and that kind of stuff. And so I settled into that, and I really had to teach myself how to do most of that stuff.
Gotcha.
I definitely had some resources in terms of like past recipes and examples of things and stuff that had been successful in the past, mostly on the fresh side. But I really had to just like figure it the fuck out, And no matter what, we did two hogs a week at House Nashville during that time, and they were between 280 and 300 pounds dressed a piece.
Yeah,
they're coming on Thursday or Wednesday, like whether you're
Figure
ready
it out.
for them or not,
Figure it
whether
out.
You got
Yeah.
a plan for it or not.
Yeah,
like, they're going to be there. And we were so busy that we would be squeaking through our center of the plate cuts by Wednesday or Thursday.
Gotcha.
So we would do the some type of preparation with the loin, whether it was a chop or whether we did a prime rib kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that was gone by the second day. So we were already into shoulders, and we had a couple of different things that we would do with shoulders, and with 4 of them, you could get yourself to a place where you had 280, 300 portions of 7-ounce steaks or whatever,
ready to go. And you're like, oh, we're good. Next day, you're like, we need more.
Until you can get your next picks.
Yeah.
But then there's the hams and the tenderloins and the heads and the bones and all these things that like you you got to put somewhere, and so what I thought would be great about my job is if I was a butcher and I was managing people, and I would get to do all this high level charcuterie stuff, and there was somebody that was learning how to cut meat that could do some of this other stuff, and that just wasn't how it was. I just did everything. Would cut the 500 pounds of beef a week, and 8 cases of chicken, and two types of fish, whatever.
Were you guys sous videing at that point?
Well, we definitely did for our pork shoulders.
Yeah.
But we didn't do a lot of that.
That's great, because that shit adds so much more time to your prep.
Well, I mean, there was a dedicated circulator running underneath the cryovac machine on the butcher station
all the time.
Yeah. And it sometimes 2 or 3 more, because I mean we would do bellies in it, we would do shoulders in it. I made it a point to pare back a lot of the things that we had been doing in circulators.
Yeah.
And do them in other ways. Like we were running fat in circulators when I started there, which was just the fastest way to burn out a fucking circulator.
Yeah.
If you want to know, is run it at 90 degrees for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Consistently. Like you're gonna fry it. But what I thought would be great, and what I wanted to push towards was, building a program out of this because I definitely noticed at this time that there was kind of a gap in the skill sets of line cooks that I was seeing that were younger, and a big common thread of that was just general butchery and meat fabrication.
Yeah.
Fish and poultry and beef and pork. And Quince was a really good example of that kind of old school kitchen where, if you were working roast, then you cut all of the you did your butchery. You had the AM sous chef was probably doing most of the sauce work to get it to the point where you're going to finish it for service and stuff like that. But you're responsible for butchering your proteins. When I worked fish, I was cutting 60 pounds of fish a day just to be able to get to where I could do my sauce work.
Yeah.
We had the Robuchon, or not Robuchon, but the Boku potato scale bass on for 6 months or whatever. And that was 4 fucking hours of my day, scaling 75, 80 portions of fish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this restaurant at Husk, we had a dedicated butcher. We were able to they built that into the structure of the restaurant, and I felt like that. Not only was that great for efficiency, but it was also perpetuating this problem that where are these cooks going to learn how to do this stuff?
Exactly.
If somebody's always going to be there doing it for them,
they'll burn more if because they don't care.
They'll have a lot more respect for their product.
Exactly.
When they're up there charring it on the grill and stuff like that. If they knew how much time it took to get it to the place where it's in a bag on their station.
Yeah.
And that's not a controversial thing.
No.
That's just a part of the human experience, But it never worked out like that. We were never able to add labor in that kind of way that wasn't driving our bottom line.
Yes.
Forward.
100%.
And so I had just gotten to the place where I was really efficient. I could do all this stuff, super quick, and I would plan my week out based on when things were coming in. So most of the time I wouldn't have to work on the same protein 2 days in a row. That way I could accumulate time over the course of the week to dedicate to doing charcuterie projects.
Heard. Yeah.
If I pick up 15 minutes here, or 10 minutes there, or 20 minutes there, then at the end of the week, that's going to add up to a couple of hours. Part of that stuff too, since I was early in, is when we had private dining events that were above a certain threshold, then I would pull a lunch cook and we would do them in the stables. It was the satellite dining room.
Gotcha.
And that happened 4 or 5 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of times where I would have days where I saw this block of time we're